Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Men of Zen, an animation research podcast. My name is Brent.
And I'm Phil.
Today we got an amazing episode for you for just a couple of reasons. A, we're talking about a show that I loved. We'll see what Phil thinks about it here.
Oh yeah, you will.
Tokyo Ghoul. Have you guys ever heard about that little show?
I mean, I've heard it. It's kind of like an indie thing.
Right. It took me a little bit to get into it. I will say the first season is a slow burn, but near like the very end of it, you're like, fuck, now I need more.
Yeah.
Now I need more. And here with us today, we have one of the biggest fans of the show that we know, our very own songwriter, editor, entrepreneur, dance and trance master, Brian Schminkadelic. Brian, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Not shit. You know, yeah, I'm so glad that you're here. Like, I talked to him about this, like, a year ago. He was like, hey, if you ever do Tokyo Ghoul, let me know.
Yeah,
dude.
Love it.
I'm so down.
Dude, I remember that, yeah. Like, oh, that'd be cool to have him on. And finally, it's like, well, it's Halloween time. Let's do Tokyo Ghoul.
Yeah.
Let's bring him on the show. And it's finally good to, get a face, to go with the name.
I appreciate this. I was super pumped all day long. I was like, dude, I'm ready for this. I am so ready for this.
Hell yeah, it's super fun. So, like, I know how I felt about the show. I didn't watch it except for the purpose of doing this episode. And now that I did, I mean, I'm super glad that I finally did. How did you find this? Like, what was your first interaction with this?
So, like, when I first saw it, this was like, oh man, when it like first, I want to say when it first came out, but like I forget when I actually saw it, but it was years ago, like years, and all of a sudden it was just one of those like kind of darker tone, like very just kind of like I wouldn't say depressing or anything like that, but there's a lot of like just dark moments in it, but it's super like I like gore.
Yeah.
So like when the fighting starts happening and you start seeing like all the actual like action scenes, I'm like, all right, like I'm hooked. Like it's got a darker premise with a bunch of violence. All right.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, this show, like, there are moments where I'm just like, I'm uncomfortable watching this right now. Like, there are, oh my god, gore. I'm not a big fan of gore unless it's an anime. I can stand a bit more in anime, but even then, this show in particular pushed the limits of that.
Yeah.
I've seen things like High School of the Dead, with zombies ripping apart, people.
Even Berserk.
Yeah, Berserk. I've watched Berserk. That's something. I've watched things like Kill la Kill, or Akame ga Kill. Sorry. So I'm used to this, but even then, this show like did it in a way that was unique to itself.
Yeah.
Right.
The action was really cool, but like Brent said, this is a very slow burn. I feel like personally, my view of the show was every time it would start ramping up to something, it would slow back down, ramping up to something, slow back down until the end.
Yep.
The end was that last episode of season 1. The beginning, I'm like, okay, like, come on, like, this is the season finale. Come on, do something. Like, I'm kind of getting bored here. And then, like, it just happened. It just snapped. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. And then it leads into season, because they don't even, like, there's not a definitive ending in season 1. Season 1 ended, and then like I was like, okay, I have to go to the next episode. I have to see how this resolves. And the first episode of season 2 resolves in a way that it made me hooked. I need to know what's happening.
Yeah, like the things that are actually going on within the whole like Ghoul community and like the CCG and everything.
Yep.
And even that gets really more interesting once you get into like the third season of like the lead. Like there gets way more into what the CCG is.
Yep.
Who's actually at the top of it, and like it gets very interesting because it's a complete tone shift from 2 to 3. Like even when I first saw it, I was like, wait, what? It almost was like Blue Exorcist in a way. If you guys ever seen that.
I love that.
Like all of a sudden, like the actual like anime stops, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, there's this new season, but it's like cutting off like half of the like second season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I
it's-
felt like
yeah.
it would have been better if this was all one contained season.
Yeah.
If it just never had that gap in between, just because of how it ends is right when it hits its peak. Like, in a way, it reminds me a lot of like how Fire Force operated, where at the beginning you're not entirely sure about what the story is, and it's a little bit of a slow quote-unquote burn.
Pun intended.
And then but by the time like the story starts to become a little bit more cohesive, and you learn like obviously like we know that there are ghouls. These ghouls can unleash like weapons. It's practically it's like an energy that can come out of their body. They can shape it into
Yep,
various
the Kagane.
Yeah, Kagane.
and they can shape it into all these like different weapons and modes and use it as
Yeah, and
limbs
they're very
stuff.
unique to the like person too.
Right. So it takes a while to like they're just constantly introducing you to the cool things they can do, but you're not really sure where the story is going. There's
Yeah.
stuff happening, but nothing really comes together.
My
By
biggest-
the time it does, it
Yeah.
ends, and you're like, well, shit.
I think that was one of the biggest problems I had with the show is like they kept introducing new things,
Yeah.
but no explanation was done. Like hell, I was like halfway through the show and I'm like, so when are they going to talk about what the fuck a ghoul is,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
you know why like the overall story of this world, like you know how long have ghouls been around, where did they come from,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
How did they first actually come into existence?
Yes, exactly. You know, there's no history that just says, "Yep, that's
Ghouls
a
are
ghoul
here."
attack." Yeah,
Yeah. And
Like-
they're just in society. It's just like
Yeah.
a normal everyday thing, like another massive ghoul killing downtown, and
Right.
everyone's just like on the news, but like in the background, and everyone's at a cafe, like, oh, did you hear about that? More people got mutilated. Oh, that
Yeah.
sucks.
It's
How's
like,
your
hey,
sandwich? Is
you
your
see
is
this
it good?
hot girl in the corner?
Yeah. Oh man.
she doesn't look like a ghoul.
Dude, I love how this starts so much like High School DxD. The guy just
Yes.
the guy just wants some tang. And
He just wants some titty.
just wants some fucking a kick in a glass, and he can't fucking help but pick the one goddamn chick who's like, I'm gonna fuck you up. I know
Oh
we're
my
going on a
God.
date, but I'm gonna fuck you up.
So Tokyo Ghoul is like High School DxD, but less plot.
Yeah.
yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yep.
And-
You know, it's we all love High School DxD for many reasons, but like
Just a couple.
just a couple. But no, like overall, I feel like this show it really didn't grip me until the end of season 1. I have to say that like this show for the most part pretty much bored me until the very end. Like there were some moments I'm like, oh shit, that's
really
actually
cool.
that's a cool moment, or oh, that was a sad moment, but like.
Yeah.
I don't know. The first season felt all over the place for me personally.
Yeah, it totally was. But the one thing that I really did like about it is the like morality conflicts
Yes.
that Kaneki is facing all the
Yep.
time, where it's like, I'm a human, I don't want to eat other humans, but like human food tastes awful, and if I want to live and survive, like I have to do this. Like I have to.
That was a really interesting plot point for me, is that they can't just eat whatever they want.
Nope.
Like, and it's, I don't know, like it would be one thing, like if I was hungry and I had nothing else, like would I shovel poop into my mouth? I don't know. I don't know if I would go that far. And that's like how like the situation they're in, where
But
he's-
they
But they
think
also
that
do talk about though, where they were like, if you don't eat this, starvation for a ghoul is hell. Like it is worse than starvation for a human.
Right.
Like they're like, your like body is like, you're gonna hate yourself. Like it's awful.
Right,
Yeah.
because they have like prolonged life and shit, and their body like has like a natural like better regeneration.
Yeah.
So they just
Oh, dude,
go
could you imagine
hungry
that?
and
Yeah,
get-
where like your body's eating yourself at the same time as repairing, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen or read the Marvel Zombies comics, where
Oh,
the
dude, I love those.
Incredible Hulk at one point has a giant like hole in his chest. Obviously, he's undead, and he's like, "Guys, check this out! I figured out how we can do it without eating people." And he just like shoves a bunch of food into his mouth, and then it falls down through his his guts. But this hole that's in his chest, he just takes it back out and goes, "Look, seconds."
I mean, that's the way to do it.
Oh man, fucking disgusting. Well, let's talk a little bit about what exactly Tokyo Ghoul is. A Japanese dark fantasy manga series written and illustrated by Sui Ishida. The series was serialized in Shueisha's seinen magazine weekly Young Jump from September 2011 to September 2014, with its chapters collected in 14 tankobon volumes. The story is set in an alternative version of Tokyo where humans exist with ghouls, beings who look like humans but can only survive by eating human flesh. Kaneki, a college student who is transformed into a half-ghoul after encountering one of them, the young female that he obviously wants to just... Yeah, he just wants to read books with her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, she's a great author.
They get so much reading done.
She can write me a love story.
It's such a fucking virgin. He must navigate the complex social and political dynamics between humans and ghouls while struggling to maintain his humanity. There is a prequel titled Tokyo Ghoul Jack, which ran online on Jump Live in 2013 with its chapters collected in a single tankobon volume, a sequel titled Tokyo Ghoul... Is it Tokyo Ghoul RE or just Tokyo Ghoul Re?
I thought it was like recall to exist, or maybe that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
or there's a
maybe.
game. Like I know there's a game called that, but
Yeah. But that was serialized in Weekly Young Jump from October 2014 to July 2018. The chapters were collected into 16 tankobon volumes. There was also a 12-episode anime television series, which is what we're talking about, produced by Perio, aired on Tokyo MX from July 2014, and a 12-episode second season titled Tokyo Ghoul Route A. Which it took me a second. I was like, square root.
oh yeah.
No, it's Route A, which follows an original story and aired from January to March in 2015. A live-action film based on the manga, which I didn't know about. I kind of want to try to find this. Was released in Japan on July 2017, with a sequel being released in July 2019. The anime adaptation to the sequel manga, Tokyo Ghoul Re, aired for 2 seasons, the first from April to June 2018, and the second from October to December in 2018. In North America, Viz Media licensed the manga for an English release, while Funimation licensed the anime series for streaming and home video distribution. By January of 2021, Tokyo Ghoul has over 47 million copies in circulation worldwide, making it one of the best-selling manga series of all time.
I know this show and this series in general, like, it's very popular. I go to anime conventions, I see so many people cosplaying it, and so, like, I know in the past I tried to watch it, and I always fell off after like 2 episodes. I'm just like, I don't know, it hasn't gripped me yet, and that's a big thing for me. If a show doesn't grip me, usually within the first episode, I kind of give up on it.
Like the one thing that I really did like about it, and with the first episode, was like instantly he's like confronted with basically like, or maybe it's episode 2, but he was like, I'm going to have to like almost kill my best friend.
Yep.
You know, and that was one of the things that actually like got me into like High School of the Dead. On the very first episode,
Oh, yes.
it's like 10 minutes into it, you're like, damn.
Yeah. Oh, dude, 100%. That show, the anime, is one of my favorite anime of all time because of just how it gets you right in the action.
Yeah.
They don't pull the punches. The animation's beautiful. The characters are all great. The oh my god, the animation, great.
Yeah.
Yes, it is plot, 100% plot. But if you take away the plot, like take away the unnecessary panty shots and the ridiculous boob physics, like that show,
it's good.
It's amazing. And I'm so sad that we will never see an ending.
Yeah, because I mean, that's what a zombie apocalypse would be.
Yeah, 100%.
Like straight up.
Absolutely.
It's dark.
And
It's hella dark.
I love how this show also set up some of the societal issues along with within the ghoul society specifically, where they're very territorial. Like they know their own hunting grounds and the places that they like to go to pick up easy prey or easy kill. And it's very like drug cartel. Like, this is my fucking territory.
Get out.
I fucking make the kills here. Fuck off. Like you don't get to kill here. This is my kill. And like there's a scene where there's a guy just eating another person on the ground, and Kaneki's like, oh my god, that smells so fucking good.
yeah, because he's like, what is that? Is that, oh my god, like it smells like a burger. Like, what is this? And then he's like, that's human.
Yeah, yep.
Oh man, then the
and then freaking Nishiki comes out of nowhere, and he was like, what the hell are you doing?
Hey.
You're in my territory. Like, this ain't your territory. It's Rize's territory. I'm going to them.
Yep. Well, it sucks about her.
Which I don't know. Like, I really just thought a lot of that was just, honestly, like the things with like Rize, I thought were really kind of dope. Like, I actually did really like her character, and just like I really wish that they would have gone a bit deeper into her, which they
Yes.
do later on, because you do kind of get more of her backstory and like what she actually is.
She
and
seems to have a major, like a big mystery surrounding her character that a lot of other characters, you know, are interested in her, and I thought that was really cool.
Like so, there's certain things that like I don't think it's a spoiler because it does get brought up later.
Yeah.
But so like there is like a hierarchy of ghouls, right? So there's
Okay.
like this like higher family. It's called like
It's almost like a mafia.
yeah, it's like the it starts
The
with the
Yakuza?
W. Yeah, no, well, it's kind of like the Yakuza, but it's like the Wishku clan or something like that,
Yeah.
or I forget exactly what it is. I have to like look it up, but it is like the hierarchy of the ghouls, and she is like actually a part of that. And like that's kind of like, oh, so that's why everybody is kind of like Rize. Like Rize is always on like everybody's mind, and like, oh, and people are like looking for her and everything like that, just because she is part of this like crazy elite family that is like insane. And it does get very interesting like in the third season, because there's a lot of things you guys are talking about where you're like, oh, like I really want like more of this, but like in that actual like Tokyo Ghoul they do get into a lot of that, because the CCG really isn't what you think it is.
Oh no, I already have those feelings that like there's
Yeah.
something going on here.
And like, and I want to say, but like I can't because I don't want to spoil it. But like,
Please, yes,
yeah,
please, I
but-
appreciate that.
Yeah,
I
because
will
but
continue watching
it
this.
it definitely like you're like, oh man, so the CCG is actually like corrupt. Like,
Oh, yeah,
you know,
no.
like and it's very very interesting, and yeah, it definitely gets into a lot more about some of these characters that you're just kind of like, oh, like what, like what's so special about you?
Right, exactly. And you know what? We're talking about ghouls left and right. You know, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
What is a ghoul exactly? A ghoul is a demon-like being or monstrous humanoid. The concept originated in pre-Islamic Arabian religion, associated with graveyards and the consumption of human flesh. Modern fiction often uses the term to label a certain kind of monster. In Arabic folklore, the ghoul is said to dwell in cemeteries and other inhabited places. A male ghoul is referred to as a ghoul, while the female is called a ghoulah. Female ghouls are also referred to as mother ghoul or ghoulah, or a relational term such as aunt ghoul. She is portrayed in many tales, luring helpless characters, who are usually men, into her home where she can eat them. Other Middle Eastern folklore suggests that a ghoul is a desert-dwelling, shape-shifting demon that can assume the guise of an animal, especially a hyena. It lures unwary people into the desert wastes or abandoned places to slay and devour them. The creature also preys on young children, drinks blood, steals coins, and eats the dead, then taking the form of the person most recently eaten. Funny fact, that is actually in the show Supernatural. They had an episode about the ghoul, and that is exactly what happened in the
Interesting.
episode. Yeah, they ate somebody and then pretended to be them for most of the show.
Yeah.
Al-Damashki describes the ghoul as a cave-dwelling animal who only leaves at night to avoid the light of the sun. They would eat both humans as well as animals. And finally, it was not until Antoine Galland translated 1001 Nights into French that the Western concept of ghouls was introduced into European society. Galland depicted the ghoul as a monstrous creature that dwells in cemeteries, feasting upon corpses. Now, of course, that is the real-life definitions and all we know about, the identity or term of ghoul. But in the show, like I said earlier, they really don't go into backstory about, like, what, at least in the early, at least in season 1, they don't go into where ghouls came from. Why is their biology that much different than humans?
Yeah.
Because, obviously, this isn't spoilers here, because in the first episode,
Yeah.
Kaneki dies or gets heavily injured by
Yeah.
Rize the ghoul, and then she gets crushed by a bunch of steel beams.
Yep.
And in an event to save his life, the doctor transplants her organs into his body, thus turning him into the half ghoul that he is. So, my first question: are ghouls' internal organs and their biology, are they essentially just humans? Because you would think as a doctor, you would be able to look at, say, well, I'm going to look at this stomach. yeah, this looks like a human stomach, all right, and they're just gonna transplant it.
I
But
would
like,
say so. I mean,
Yeah.
it seems like they have all the same human functions. It's just what their body can process.
right, but so now that makes me think like they're Kagane. Is it an actual organ, a particular body part, or is it actually a thing of energy?
I'm pretty sure that we get into that a little bit. I'm pretty positive that it's actually just a form of energy, and it has
Okay.
something to do with something in their blood cells called
Okay.
like R cells, something like that.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on this yet. I know I wrote about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fairly positive, and then they can like produce that as like an organ or an extension of themselves. They can control it, but it's just a portion or it's something within the blood. It's not the
Okay.
blood itself.
And that makes
Okay.
sense because it seems like certain people, like there's like different ranks of the Kagane, right? Like
Yep.
they're like, like yours is not as strong as this person's
Mm-hmm.
and everything like that. Especially like when you get to characters like Jason, where
Oh,
like,
yeah.
he seems like his Kagane is like insane.
On a different level.
Yeah, and it also seems like you get like strength based on the people that you eat too.
Yes.
Like the more people you eat, the stronger you are. Plus, if you start eating other ghouls,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's like, okay, like now you get like amped up, like you're super
Yeah.
like.
There seemed to be like Kagane that looked more physical, and then
Yeah.
they looked like there were Kagane that were more energy based, like
Mm-hmm.
Toka's one of the main characters in the show. Hers seemed to be like made of like a fiery energy, while there was another character, I can't remember his name, the clinic doctor who had like a scorpion like tail.
Yeah.
His looked more like physical, and that's super unique. So that's why I was confused. Like, were they actual like body parts? Were they made of
Yeah.
energy? Were they an organ? But hey, Brent, would you like our guest to read the synopsis
Yeah,
for the
sure.
show?
Do you-
Here we go.
Yeah, man. All right, let's do this.
Yeah, we got that right here. Yeah, we got. If you want to move this up and down, like you
Okay,
are more than
okay,
welcome to.
okay.
But yeah, Schminky, take it away.
All right. Tokyo Ghoul is set in an alternate reality where ghouls, creatures that look like normal people but can only survive by eating human flesh, live among the human population in secrecy, hiding their true nature in order to evade pursuit of the authorities. Ghouls have powers including enhanced strength, speed, endurance, and regenerative abilities. A regular ghoul produces 4 to 7 times more kinetic energy in their muscles than normal humans. That's a lot. They also have several RC cells, a cell that which flows like blood and can become solid instantly. A ghoul's skin is resistant to ordinary piercing weapons.
Except for ceramic.
Except for ceramics.
Right.
We'll get to that in a second.
Right. And has at least one special predatory organ called Kagune, which can manifest and use a weapon during combat. And
Yeah.
both eyes turn black and their irises turn red. This mutation is known as Kagugen, right?
Yeah.
Oh yes, my Kakugan.
Kakugan, all right. All right. A half ghoul can either be born naturally as a ghoul and a human offspring, or artificially created by transplanting some of the ghoul organs into a human. When they are excited or hungry, the color is usually much stronger than a pure blood ghoul. In the case of a half ghoul, only one of the eyes undergoes the red eye transformation. Natural born ghoul or natural born half ghouls are very rare, and creating half ghouls artificially initially has a low success rate. There's also a case of half humans, hybrids of ghouls and humans that can feed like normal humans and lack Kagune while possessing enhanced abilities like increased reaction speeds but shortened lifespans. Naturally, half-born ghouls can also eat like normal humans or full ghouls.
Which I think is bullshit. So some of them can actually just eat like normal shit. That sucks.
Well,
At
yeah,
least
but
for-
that's pretty interesting. Like, I didn't know that because I remember in the season 1 where there was that other girl that it was a half ghoul, and she didn't like being like saw like she didn't like it when people would see her eat.
Yep.
And she had to like eat like human flesh, and they really
Is she
never...
a half ghoul? Because
Yeah.
her mom and her dad are both ghouls. So wouldn't she
no,
be?
okay, yeah, okay, no, yeah, you're right. Yeah, she is full ghoul. She is. Okay, I thought
Yep.
that she was. Oh yeah, not my bad. My bad.
That was more just that she was trying to hide the fact, kind
Okay.
of like, kind of like our main protagonist. He doesn't want to embrace it fully yet publicly, where he's like ashamed of who he's become now. And I think she was just born with it, and she's
Yep.
like, I don't want to have to be this way, but if I have to, I'll do it in secret. And that whole scene with the girl and the mother was pretty rough.
Yeah,
Oh
it really
my
was,
God.
especially when at one point where like you see that the one dude like took her parents and like turned them into the weapons, and then like went against her, and she was like, "That's my mom, and my dad." Like,
that's such a fucked up thing. Like the CCG, like they, in order to combat ghouls, they essentially will rip apart or dismantle a ghoul and then steal their Kagane, and then turn them into weapons by some unknown. I don't know how the hell they do this, but they essentially just take them and turn them into like swords, whips, like whatever the case may be. There's one of the agents who absolutely hate him. He's Mato. This guy is so blatantly fucked up in the head, but he believes he's doing everything right, and his partner, Amand. What was his name?
Amon.
Yeah. He genuinely believes like his partner is, a good guy. He's a little eccentric, but he's a nice guy. But then, like, you see him like torture this girl, the little girl ghoul. Like, oh yeah, this is your dad's, Kagane.
He's like beating her. Yeah.
Like I ripped him apart, I shredded him up, and I turned him into a weapon. How does that make you feel? And it's like, what? Like, if I was this dude's partner, I would be like, oh, okay, like, dude, like, calm down. Like, you don't need to do that.
But it's very interesting just how in that society, how they will view ghouls. Like, ghouls are just, like, vermin.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like, they're just like, yo, like, you guys should not be in existence. Like, we will just eradicate you.
And I can understand why, because, they can only survive by eating humans.
But then, like, that's where I do find it very interesting with I forget exactly what Inteku, right?
Inteku, the coffee shop.
Yeah. So like with them and everything, like they are like ghouls that are like we
don't want to go out and kill people.
But like this
survive.
is a special kind of like coffee brew that we make, and this is what we drink without having to actually go out and like murder a bunch of people. Or if they do end up like killing some people, which I do think they do, like they find them that like. What was it, like people who drive off the cliff, or they
collect
like, the
bodies,
dead bodies of people who committed suicide and stuff like that, and then that's what they use to eat instead of going out there and being like, "Hey, civilian."
And
it's a lot like Beastars.
Yeah,
if you remember that, where I know you said you watched some of that.
I watched some of it. Yeah,
I hated that show so fucking much.
Did you ever watch season 2?
I did.
Okay,
still bad. Still bad.
It's so fun. I love it, but it's just having that like
the black market that you were kind of talking about.
I'm sure there's got to be like a black market for this kind of shit where you can like buy like I don't know, are there like delicacy humans?
Well,
like,
like remember taste? Because I forget exactly the one dude, but we definitely need to talk about him. He's the one dude that tipped Kaneki to the coffee shop.
Oh my God! Who is it?
He was like the one dude that would. He had a special name too, where I forget his like actual like ghoul name, but he was a gourmet. Gourmet is what they were, and he would only sought after certain individuals of either like celebrity status, or in this case, if they were like rare ghouls or something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my God! Like Skune, like
I forget the guy's name.
Like something. Like hold on, it's like I want to find this guy out. Here's the thing. I get it when you think about as humans, we believe ourselves to be the top of the food chain, and if there is another species that is a threat to that position on the top of the food chain, of course, we as humans are going to be more defensive. We don't want you around here because you are a predator to us. We don't want you here. That makes sense. Now, the just unbridled hatred that they have for these ghouls, like, there are some ghouls that are all absolutely evil. Like, they'll murder people, they'll torture people, but at the same time, humans are like that. There are awful humans. So you can't just say, because a bunch of ghouls kill people doesn't mean that every single ghoul is a bad person. Just like there's a lot of really bad humans, you can't say that every human is bad. And it's to me, it's such an easy concept to understand. But in this world, they're like, nope, you're a ghoul, you're fucking evil, you need to die. You aren't even a real person. And it's
probably how it really would be, like just with our society where everything that humans do is all about the preservation of humanity as a whole when you get right down to it. So I mean, if there's any sort of outside threat or predator, I don't think society would be ready to try to integrate a threat or like sanction it it to somewhere, like our first impulse would be to fucking push the big red button and just nuke the shit out of it.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Just blow it away. Just get rid of it. Just get rid of it now.
And yeah, but like I definitely do think like that was a very interesting part though, is where the gourmet was like kind of had that like what was it like the Big Mama like arena thing that they had.
Yep.
And, like
we don't do anything with that ever again.
yeah, and like but like they had that huge arena, and then like that's like one of the first times we actually see like Kaneki actually have to like have this like mental battle within himself about like, I'm going to die here. And like there's this like, because once like Rize like got into him, like she would always be talking to him like in his head and being like, hey, like give yourself to me, like just let me kind of like take like if you were just to like embrace that ghoul side, like you will become like unstoppable. Just kind of like let yourself go, like, you know what I mean? And I think that was one of the very first times where you really had to have like that life and death situation. Not so much like, oh, I'm good, like I can't eat my friend or I can't eat this human. It's like, I'm going to die. I have to call upon this power, and like I'm scared of it.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like he was really scared to like actually use his Kagune, and was just kind of like very unsure of his own self. And like that was one thing where I did like too, where you kind of got to see that growth a little bit of like, okay, I'm actually going to start trusting myself, and I'm going to start like not like these thoughts and these feelings that I'm having inside of like my own head, and I'm trying to like balance, like I'm just gonna go with it. Like I'm just gonna like just go with this flow, go with this roller coaster, and wherever it takes me, it takes me. And that's kind of like one moment that I did like. And then especially when you get later on with Jason, and then you really kind of like, dang, dude, like,
dude,
ooh.
That whole bit, that entire episode, when Kaneki finally becomes like, he
becomes Kaneki.
Yes.
Like he really becomes Kaneki.
He becomes the main protagonist.
Dude, he goes Super Saiyan.
Cover.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I had always seen the white haired, like black mask wearing, like person on every cover. I'm like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Like, and then you really don't know until a much later time. But it takes so long to get to this character, and the thing that Kaneki has to endure to get there is so brutal that, I mean, thinking in the context of what a ghoul is and how they regenerate, and the amount of like torture and hell he goes through.
Oh my god, that was such
gnarly.
Yeah, and I mean, and especially just like him as a human, like when they really kind of got into his backstory, like he had like a pretty awful upbringing.
I
like,
really think Rize almost started to like feel bad for him. Like maybe she didn't take enough time. Like, I mean, at first, like to her, he was just prey.
Yeah.
Right. She's like, I can get this kid somewhere in episode 1. She's like, I can get him somewhere. We'll go on a date, and then I'm just gonna stab him.
Yeah.
But then, like, later as they become, like, she almost becomes this nine-tailed fox demon sort of inside Naruto sort of thing, and they have this internal monologue, and she really starts to understand him, and she's like, I can help you, rather than just like laugh at him and be like, you're getting
weak,
fucked, kid.
yeah.
Fucked. Oh my god, it was such a good twist. I really love that.
Yeah. So how far did you actually get though, Brent?
I got into about maybe 3 episodes into season 2.
Okay.
And so I'm still going to continue watching that. Which real quick before we get into some of the creator, just a little bit about that, where the sequel series Tokyo Ghoul Re follows an amnesiac Kaneki under a new identity. Is it Haize?
Yeah, Haize.
Haize Sasaki.
Yep.
So he sustained some sort of brain damage, and he now like doesn't know a whole lot about himself. But again, he's got this new persona that he's trying to hold on to.
And I think like Kaneki, well, it's not Kaneki, but like Child Kaneki, almost like it seemed like Child Kaneki created Haize.
Yeah.
It almost seems like that. And because like there's parts in there where Haize is talking to Kid Kaneki, and Kid Kaneki is kind of like you're gonna like protect me, right? Like you're gonna like do some of these things, and I could be kind of wrong about that, but like I just know that there was a lot of things like the Kid Kaneki was looking up to Haize as in like I created you to kind of like guide this part, and like it was pretty interesting. Like, did you guys ever see Doom Patrol at all?
I've seen a little bit of it, but not like full on episodes.
Okay. Well, there's a character called Jane that kind of brings in what Kaneki's kind of going through. This Jane character will have like a little girl inside her head, and she'll create all these different entities of her to kind of like protect the kid.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's kind of like what that kind of is, where like with Heise or yeah.
Yeah, and that's really interesting that he becomes this whole new persona. So the CCG that I know you mentioned, this investigator squad of like human investigators that look into the whereabouts of different ghouls and ghoul societal things.
Ghoul activity.
And like, they're fucking scary too, considering that they're just humans.
Yeah.
Like the shit that they can do to ghouls is. It reminds me a lot of like Blue Exorcist.
Yeah.
Where they have like the priests that are like you're a demon. I know that like you have special powers, but I'm still gonna really fuck
Well, that's the
you
thing.
up.
Yeah.
They mentioned like without their Queen Ks, they can't beat a ghoul.
Yep.
Like they have to fight ghouls essentially with ghouls.
Yeah. And it seems like those humans are like really powerful themselves too. Like Amon is like
he's like jacked.
Yeah. Like, and these are things that like normal humans could not really do, but they are. Like Mato is insane. And then you guys know Juzo. Like Juzo is like this crazy white-haired kid that just like I love killing. Killing is so much fun. And
I was wondering about that guy. Like,
and he's like, and he just gets more insane as the season goes on. And this kid just is like nuts. Like this kid is just so powerful. Like even ghouls are like, dude, I like your endurance is insane, and like it's insane. But Juzo is definitely a character that is definitely cool to like follow.
And I feel like humans would also be. I mean, again, this is some stuff that I don't know yet. That my hypothesis is that humans are going to be experimenting with the RC cells within ghoul blood, and they're trying to see how they can integrate it into themselves.
See, I feel like this,
So,
this man over here smiling
like so
he wants to say something,
dude. So like it all right. So they talk about how half ghouls are very rare, right?
but they're stronger than full ghouls.
Regular ghouls, which is pretty weird, but in a way I kind of get it.
Well, it's like Dragon Ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Half Saiyans have higher
like they can go
abilities.
Super Saiyan just easily.
Yeah, the half Saiyans can become much stronger and have a higher ceiling. You got Future Trunks, you got Gohan, you know, Goten and Trunks.
Power of love.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's about it.
Yeah, because like for a while with the Saiyan race, it seemed like they draw on hatred to like
Yeah,
power
emotions.
themselves up. Yeah, but humans feel emotions so much more than what the Saiyans do. And then like
emo.
and then like especially when things like like when Goku saw Krillin die, and he was like, oh my god, like I'm gonna go fucking kill you, Frieza, and
And then Goten's like, "Can I go Super Saiyan 2?"
yeah.
Oh yeah, I can do it. That's cool.
Yeah.
Let's go Super.
Let's take a quick break here. Actually, to get us into this break, let's talk about you've got some new music coming out?
Yeah, man. So I have a new track called Madness. It's definitely some pretty heavy stuff. It's going to be dropping out actually in November. Probably like late November, unfortunately. But it's good. It's good. Take the time, make the quality right. So
okay.
But it's definitely got like a a heavier feel. It's much more dubstep, like trappier dubstep. Like if you guys know like Pixel Terror, if you guys ever like listen to some of their stuff,
I don't think so.
They have some pretty heavy tracks.
I don't know. Are they on Monster Cat Call of the Wild?
Yeah, they are actually.
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I've been listening ever since you showed me that. I'll check that out.
Dude, Monster Cat Call of the Wild is definitely like such a great place for tracks. It like that's the plug, like Monster Cat, yo. But it's definitely they're definitely heavy. Like they have their one track Horizon. Definitely, that's kind of like what the Field of Madness is. So if you like check out like Pixel Terror Horizon, this is definitely the Field of Madness. Like definitely has.
Is this part of something that you're going to be releasing another like a full? Or like an EP or something.
Yeah, so I'm definitely I'm definitely leading up to an EP, but this is just something where it's like, this has just been chilling on the hard drive for a couple years. And it's
Ooh, okay.
Sometimes that's the best, man. You just pick up something older, you're like, you know what, I really don't remember what this is. Like, oh, like now that like you have more knowledge about what is going on or how to manipulate your software or your
Yeah, your
hardware now
sound,
than you
yeah.
did, and you're like, dude, I can totally take that and make that fucking kick ass now, where before you were stuck.
Yeah, and that's the one thing too, where with music and people are just kind of like, yeah, like I just like delete stuff. It's like, yo, don't. Like,
Yeah, no.
like really don't. Like, that little crappy loop that you thought was crap like 6 months ago, you might go back to it and be like, oh, all right, that crappy loop isn't that crappy, and I can actually make
Right.
this and turn it into something dope.
You just didn't have the inspiration
Yeah.
or the skill to do what you wanted to do with it yet, and the moment you hear that, you're like, fuck, why did I stop that? That's fucking good.
Yeah, and that's the one thing about just, a lot of just creative stuff in general. Like, don't delete it. Like, just save it, come back to it, because inspiration comes in weird moments.
Right.
And,
100%. I dig it. I dig
yeah.
it.
Well, let's
So-
go ahead and take a couple minutes here. We're going to play Schminkadelic's new track, Madness, for you here as an exclusive first release before the official release this November, what day?
You know what? Let's go for November 20th.
November
Ooh,
20th.
okay.
Ooh, hey, that's the same day Super Mario RPG comes out.
Oh, for real?
there you go.
I know,
Okay.
I got that day set, man.
Yeah, play that while you're playing Madness,
Yo, actually, it might be a good vibe.
All right, guys. Hey, we'll be right back. So let's fucking hook up this track, and we'll talk at you here in a couple minutes.
A Zen exclusive.
What's up, gamers? Birds and Swords here. I'm Micah.
And I'm Alyssa. As part of the Barn Media Group, we bring you anything and everything from the world of video games.
Are we experts?
No.
But do we play a lot of video games?
Hell yeah, we do.
So come check out our gaming podcast, Birds and Swords, for insight, opinions, top lists, and all the fun that comes with talking about games.
Come laugh with us. Or at us.
So bring your bird and your sword.
Because it's Birds and Swords.
Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service, and it's 100% online. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 25,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. To get started, you just answer a few questions about your needs and preferences in therapy. That way, BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network. Then you can talk to your therapist however you feel comfortable, whether it's via text, chat, phone, or video call. You can message your therapist at any time and schedule live sessions when it's convenient for you. If your therapist isn't the right fit for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge. With BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality you expect from in-office therapy, but with a therapist who is custom-picked for you, more scheduling flexibility, and at a more affordable price. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/thebarn. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/thebarn.
All right, let's talk about the creator. Sui Ishida, born December 28th, 1986, in Fukuoka Prefecture in Japan, is a Japanese manga artist also known as Sotonami. He is popularly known for his dark fantasy manga series Tokyo Ghoul and Chojin X. It is believed that the creator is shy and doesn't want to reveal himself to the media and presumably didn't want to be harassed by fans. He even sent his work to be published in Weekly Young Jump magazine through one of his staff, not himself. Which typically, that seems to be a big thing for a lot of mangaka. They don't like to... A lot of mangaka, their actual appearances and their information.
Man, that's why I love it. Like, everyone respects people's privacy, and it's just known that, like, you don't want to be a public menace. People aren't loud and obnoxious like a lot of, like, American bigger cities are. It's just everything is maintained. They have rules, and there are a lot of rules, and people follow them, but you really see the result of what happens when you follow the rules and actually like maintain your society. Like, their streets are clean. There isn't, like, trash or litter because people fucking pick up their shit. Like,
that's nice.
Yeah, it's just,
right?
It's just little bits. Like, there's so much beautiful country there, even, like, in some of the inner city areas. It's just, I want to explore, man.
One of these days, man, I'm planning on going.
I'm
just saying.
there.
Before gaining recognition for his work on Tokyo Ghoul, Ishida started his career by creating webcomics. In a stark contrast to the dark and often tragic nature of Tokyo Ghoul, that's an understatement. Ishida's webcomics were explicit comedies. These included titles such as The Tale of Longing for Sex and The Penis Man. Despite their humorous content, Ishida's distinctive artwork and ability to invoke deep emotions were present in these webcomics.
Can't imagine a penis man having a deep emotion.
Like, Penis Man.
Get hard.
Are you trying to say it's hard for him?
Yeah, his life is hard, man.
Information about the tale of longing for sex, as most of its online links are no longer accessible. Furthermore, Ishida lost the files for this webcomic due to a hard drive crash. Ooh. That's why I don't like digital only. On the other hand...
Back it up.
If it doesn't... what is it? If it's not stored in two places, it doesn't exist?
Yep.
100%. Oh, man. On the other hand, The Penis Man centered around a superhero character with a phallus for a head. Surprisingly, this comic had moments of genuine emotion and wholesomeness. However, Ishida left it unfinished a long time ago. Wait, you mean he blue-balled us?
Damn.
Oh, man, I'm funny.
Man cried a lot, if you get what I mean.
But Many mangaka create fan art of their favorite anime or their friends' works, and Ishida is no exception. The striking colors and palpable melancholy of Ishida's style made his fan art more distinct over other mangaka's tributes. Ishida made fan art for the likes of Attack on Titan, Neon Genesis Evangelion, and Tokyo Revengers. The most touching of Ishida's many fan arts was the illustration he made in honor of the voice contestant and known Tokyo Ghoul fan, Christina Grimmie. I actually know Christina Grimmie. She is one of the most talented singers I have ever heard. Her voice was beautiful, and she was such a kind-hearted person, which makes this next part really unfortunate. In 2016, Grimmie was murdered during a fan meet and greet. Ishida offered his condolences and paid tribute to Grimmie by drawing her and writing a heartfelt message as well.
That is sad.
Yeah, it was tragic.
Especially when you're there to like meet people that you're like genuinely like want to see. Like you're actually like helping me support what I love and do.
Yeah.
And then like, wow.
Yeah, it was something like, I remember reading it because like I was a fan of, like, she got famous on YouTube for doing a lot of covers.
Oh, really?
And then she was on The Voice, and she actually got picked by Adam Levine for his team, and she was an amazingly talented singer, and she did collaborations with a lot of other YouTube singers or a lot of up-and-coming YouTube artists, and I remember that. I remember reading it one day that she had been killed during her meet and greet.
Wow.
And I think Brent here has a lot of information on that. Yes, please.
Yeah, at
please.
least a little bit. With Christina Grimmie, it was on June 10th, 2016, where she performed with Before You Exit at the Plaza live in Orlando, Florida. Earlier in the day, she posted an announcement on her social media asking people to attend the concert. After her performance ended at 10 p.m., Grimmie signed autographs inside the venue, and at 10:24, she was approached by a 27-year-old named Kevin James Loibel.
Yeah,
I think
Loibel
is his name.
Yeah.
Thinking he was too shy to greet her, she opened her arms to give him a hug. Loibel then pulled his Glock pistol and shot her 3 times at point-blank range. As witnesses fled the scene, Loibel was tackled by Grimmie's brother, and the men scuffled. Loibel broke free from the grip, backed against a wall, and fatally shot himself. Like a fucking pussy. Police did not offer a motive, but said that Loibel had shown an unhealthy and unrealistic infatuation with the singer and tried to make himself more physically attractive for her through weight loss, hair transplants, teeth whitening, and eye surgery. Orlando Sentinel described his motives as, "If I can't have you, then nobody else can, and I'm going to possess you by taking your life." Although Loibel lived like a hermit, his family said that they were not aware of his plans to travel to Orlando, nor that he possessed any guns. They also stated that they had never heard of Grimmie, heard Loibel talk about her, or watched The Voice. However, his only friend in the world claimed to have known about Loibel's obsession, though not to its extent. Loibel's co-workers also stated the same. They said Loibel would be angry and defensive when questioned about his obsession with Grimmie, and before the shooting had stated he was tired and ready to ascend.
What a fucking piece of shit.
Man.
Wow.
Yeah, that's some, I don't know, like, bits of it are definitely, there was a lot of mental
100%.
issues there, which that part of me wants to feel bad for just how out of control he let it get. But to
at the same
actually
time,
go
man,
through and do something like that, especially to, like, even if it is just like a celebrity or an icon that you're like that infatuated with, to have the idea of, I know, I'll go fucking kill him. What the fuck?
Yeah. And that's tough. That's scary. That is super scary, especially as like an artist like myself, you know? Like you don't really think about it like that at all. You know, like you're like, yo, like I'm doing what I love to do and I want to share this with the world. You know what I mean?
Especially if they, like in this case, if she, you know, saw like, oh, you're shy, like here, you know, come on, like, let me,
you know, like especially like if I knew someone that was like there for me, you know what I mean, and like my show, like of course, like I would actually be like, yeah, dude, like yo, like
come on, like come talk to us, like you know,
like get to know me like a little bit, you know what I mean, or at least just be like, hey, like I acknowledge your existence, you know, like you do exist, you know what I mean, and it's
people, and that I remember that jump started a huge talking point about, bands meeting fans, or like celebrities meeting fans, or, artists meeting fans.
Don't let that deter you. Straight
Right.
up. Like, do not let that deter
Well,
you.
yeah, it basically, a lot of people are like, how are we supposed to defend ourselves? Like, we want to be around, obviously for our fans, but like, we want to meet our fans, but like, we need to make sure like we have updated security.
Yeah.
And it's just, and that's, I remember reading about that. Grimmy was a huge fan of Tokyo Ghoul,
Really?
and that is, which is kind of crazy because like she was so happy-go-lucky, and just it's hard to believe someone like that would like Tokyo Ghoul.
Yeah.
No offense, Mickey.
Hey, man. Yeah.
No,
and I'm actually like pretty happy-go-lucky too.
I know,
like,
you
straight
are
up, man.
just this
like,
giant bundle of joy.
yeah,
I can
man.
tell.
Yeah. straight up, and like. Yeah, and like it's just one of those things where like like it's something where like as like me personally, like it's just kind of like one of those like darker kind of like stories that like it's kind of like dang, like it's interesting to see someone go through some traumatic stuff, but then still come out like all right and positive, and that's the thing that I do kind of like about some of those darker animes where like there's some dark crazy stuff that happened to people in life too, you know what I mean? And then you see people go through these traumatic events, but they come out better and they come out like stronger mentally, and they also can see like the things that other people go through, and they're like, hey, like I went through this too, like like it's cool, bro. Like,
it's kind of what when you think about it, comedians, some of the funniest people in the world have some like darkest imaginations. Think of it like this: John Krasinski. People know him as Jim from The Office. Funny guy. He writes and directs A Quiet Place, which is one of the most unique horror movies that have come out in a long time, and it was a great movie. Dark as all hell. And you have Jordan Peele. Who writes a lot of the like really
Get Out.
Get Out, Nope.
Dude, Nope is so good.
Let's see what other ones. Us, like a lot of messed up movies. It's like the happiest people in the world really
kind of
some dark shit. Yeah.
Sometimes have a very depressed mind.
Oh man.
I mean it's true. I mean it's the same thing with music industry as far as all that, like metalheads, any dudes that like some of the heaviest shit out there, that they're like those disgusting fucking all that shit. They're some of the coolest dudes you'll ever meet.
Oh yeah, like
they're
like
the nicest people out there, and I feel like it's just because there is that outlet of any anger or rage or stress is released through some of this music, and that is the outlet, so therefore they don't necessarily have to express that nearly as often or as openly as other people do who constantly listen to happy and calm anything.
I mean, like
they don't have that emotional outlet.
Like there's times where like actually when I was creating Madness, like I was at work, and like I would just remember just really being kind of like lost and like down and sad, and being like, what am I doing with my life? Like, what am I doing here? Like, I've been at like what am I doing with myself, and then like all like I just remember kind of like going home, taking all that just kind of like just that frustration, and that just kind of like that like what the and and then just Madness kind of came out, and it was just some really heavy growls, and then like all of a sudden, just like me personally, like I do love real big heavy bass in your face, like love it, like death metal when it comes to those like I'm like yes please like yes, and like so I get that, and I just took all of that and just kind of like put it just put that into it, and that's one thing where like even when it comes to like drawing and things like that, like having some sort of like creative outlet is so huge. Or even just if you want to take that and just go to the gym and just work out or just run, do something, like it's such a relief. It really is. Yeah, dude,
100%. I think the last little bit that I had to bring up here, which I thought was really interesting, was Ishida's newer a project that he'd been doing. I believe it's finished. I don't think it's an ongoing thing. I'll have to look at the dates on that. I forgot to put that in here. But Chojin X, which I think this feels like it's supposed to be a sole successor to Tokyo Ghoul.
Really?
This synopsis is so similar that it feels like he came up with, he had Tokyo Ghoul, and he's like, that was such a success. Now what made it a success? and he has a lot of the same elements in this. So there's the character Azuma Higashi, who has great fighting skills as well as a strong sense of justice, and always gets good grades in his class. His friend Tokyo Kurohara is the complete opposite of Azuma. He does not listen in class and is a bystander when Azuma fights. Different as they might be, their bond is very strong nevertheless. They live in Yamato Prefecture, where the district has almost been destroyed by Chojin, humans that have supernatural abilities. When the two are returning home, they encounter a Chojin who threatens to kill them, but with no other way of escaping, the two decide to become Chojin themselves. The story centers around their adventures and struggles as they try to navigate the chaotic and often dangerous life of a Chojin.
That sounds cool.
Right? Which still sounds like, again, like more of the choice rather than Kaneki had, where his was like, an unfortunate set of
you really didn't have a
circumstances.
choice. Like this doctor's like, hey, like these organs are going to save you. Here you go. And
Right.
these organs are like ghoul, and now you want human blood and you want human flesh.
But it's interesting that the synopsis says they get to choose that. So
That's
I'm
interesting.
curious as to how that is. But again, it's that living a different life than what you were used to and having to fit into this new society and having
Yeah.
a whole other half of society practically against you in the same way that ghouls are. But this one sounds really interesting. I'm really curious to
Because I
to
even
read
think
this.
that even with Tokyo Ghoul, they kind of had a choice a little bit where, you know, like you could either really go and like hunt humans down, eat their flesh, or you could take the more passive route. Like some ghouls straight up chose to live like humans and wanted
Yep.
just normal everyday civilian lives and have a ghoul family. And like, you know, and there were even times where ghouls would straight up fall in love with humans. And, you know, like the one character Nishiki, and his girlfriend, like, you know, like she was human, he was a ghoul, and she even knew about it, and she was like cool with it. Like, you know, like I love this person, and I'm going to accept them for who they are, even all their positives and their flaws. Like, you know, like I'm just gonna, you know, like I love this person. So
That was such a. Is it weird that like there are certain characters that like show up and then like they really don't get that much more screen time?
yeah.
Like for Kaneki's best friend, which we
Hide?
barely, Hide, we
Yeah.
we didn't even mention him. Like he's his best friend.
Yeah.
He's barely in the show. We like really we didn't talk about the characters.
Yeah.
Primarily, like we kind of sprinkled it in little bits and pieces throughout the
Yeah, and I
episode,
think
but
that's
like
probably one of the best ways to do it because it focuses so much solely on Kaneki
and like Toka to an extent,
Toka,
and
but
and
for the
they-
most part, other characters are there just to support them.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, again, like his best friend is hardly in it, but
He's
plays a
talked
major
about a
role
lot, like
in the
with
sense that he
Kaneki
exists.
himself, like in his own head. Like,
Yeah.
he's always talking about like, you know, he's like, oh well, like my friend Hide, and like I don't want to do these things to like hurt him, and then he's having his own internal conflict where it's like, but I have to like survive, and
Right.
and I'm in this society that like these people have fucking no idea what's going on. Like this, like I'm in this whole other fucking realm that like humans didn't even fucking know about. Like this goes so much more deeper into this whole like ghoul society and like how ghouls are kind of like running the fucking show.
Okay.
You know? And like they're just kind of like they're like, you know, they literally are the top dogs. Like, you know, like humans are fucking no longer the top of the food chain. They're not the ones that are really in control. And you know, and it's just one of those things where, you know, within that ghoul society, there's bad ghouls and good ghouls.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of like trying to keep this balance, you know. And Kaneki is now literally thrown into it, and is also fucking find out that he's like one of the fucking strongest ones ever. And everybody is kind of like, well, dude, so what are you gonna do?
So what are you gonna do about
you
it?
are like a fucking badass and like number fucking 3 ghoul for like basically, you know what I mean? Like everybody talks about the one-eyed owl and how fucking powerful that person is, and then all of a sudden it's kind of like Kaneki.
Kaneki.
Like and then even as it goes on, it just is like, yo, like so with Heise, like when he's actually in the CCG as like an investigator, and he has all of his like, so there's like the Quink Squad in season 3 that he kind of oversees as Heise or Heise, and like if he reverts to Kaneki and goes back to that, he's instantly considered an SS ghoul and killed on sight. And his own team is actually supposed to like stop what they're doing and kill him if he goes fucking like ghoul mode.
Wow.
And that's like part of the thing that even in the CCG they have to view him as that. So like they see he's this person that's actually trying to help the CCG, help them grow, find these ghouls and like stop them. But at the same time, like everyone in the CCG is like, you're a fucking ghoul. Like I don't like you. Like like if you were to like snap, like you're dead. And even at one point, like as Heise, he just goes up and talks to one of the senior investigators, and he was just like, "Hey, man, like I like just talking to him nicely as you would like anybody else, and actually genuinely cared about this person."
Yeah.
And then he just walks away. Then in his head, you're like, "You're just a fucking ghoul. like I will kill you if you ever do anything." And he was like, "I don't like you, Heise." Like, you know, and these are things like going on within the CCG, and they're all just like it's just very interesting, really, what happens as it does go on, because as the season does progress, it does get better. And there are some things where you're just still kind of like, all right, that's a little jarring. And there's a part where Kaneki's backstory, I feel like, isn't, it kind of gets messed up a little bit, I feel. Because with his mom, I'm not going to get too deep into that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Like,
that kid's got mommy issues.
yeah, well, yeah, it's very weird, especially how they end up portraying his mom in season 3 versus 2. Or like, you know, it's very weird, and that was the one thing where I'm just kind of like, did he like forget that he wrote something about like did he forget that he already kind of gave a backstory to his mom, and then just kind of you know.
That's amazing.
But hey, before we get this episode wrapped on up, we got to do our typical near the end of the episode. What's Google say? Well, what are the reviews talking about this show?
I love those, actually.
Yeah. Right now, we are sitting at about 2,028 ratings on Google. This show is sitting at a 4.7 out of 5. So pretty darn high.
Yeah, that's good.
And that's a lot of reviews, too. IMDb currently has it at 7.7 out of 10. But Rotten Tomatoes, you're going to like this part, is sitting at 100%.
On Rotten Potato? Or
Rotten Potatoes.
Rotten Potatoes. Rotten Tomatoes. Really? That's interesting, because they're like really like nitpicky about shit.
They're so nitpicky about things.
That's awesome, actually.
Right? And then let me see here. I'm looking at here. Here's a 5-star review. We got to start that website. We have a 5-star review by Gyatri Arts, Hyderabad, India. Man, that's a name. There is a lot to talk about Tokyo Ghoul. When I first started watching season 1 of Tokyo Ghoul, I felt it was kind of murderous and blood spattered, and it was a bit cringed while I watched it during the bloody scenes. But after completing watching seasons 2 and 3, I completely understand the concept and plot of the anime. I really enjoyed the concept of the ghouls. If you don't know what a ghoul is, it's basically a human flesh-eating creature. There is no need to talk about the protagonist of the anime, Ken Kaneki. His character evolution from a lonely book nerd to a vicious, strong ghoul was shown extraordinarily well. I enjoyed watching his screenplay all the time in the anime, and yeah, he is one of the most good-looking male characters in the anime world.
There we go.
Man, she thirsty. Hey, yeah, I'm sorry. She, he, whoever they are, they're thirsty. That's awesome, though. You know, hey,
it's the white hair. It's always the white hair.
It's always
the one eye.
It's the white hair.
The white hair and the one eye, dude.
White-haired characters are always badass. That is just like a fact of life.
And they always have one eye.
Kakashi.
Yeah, Kakashi, Sephiroth.
Oh, except for
Gojo.
I was gonna say
Gojo. Yeah,
he doesn't
man.
have any. He just covers them.
He's got great eyes.
What
Dude.
was
Shishomaru,
Shishomaru, right? Yeah,
Shishomaru.
Yeah.
Inuyasha.
Yeah.
He had both of his eyes, though.
Yeah, he did, but he had that.
But his hair was
dude.
long.
Yeah, he had that long white hair.
He had that fucking kick-ass sword.
You know, honestly, when it comes to anime, it's always either white hair or blue hair.
Dude, it really is.
Blue-haired girls.
Yeah, it could be the red-haired ones too, man.
Yeah,
dude, if you have black hair, you're basic.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, dude, that's why, like, when Kaneki was just, like, that book nerd, he just had the black hair and just, you know.
That's amazing. Well, hey, I want to wrap this up here and thank everybody for listening to our episode. Hope you enjoyed it. This was a ton of fun.
Man, and thank you guys.
Yeah,
thanks
for coming.
Yeah.
That was a ton of fun. You brought a lot of insight to the show that I don't think we had. So
Hey, I appreciate
Greatly
that. And
appreciate
even though
that.
like I did kind of slip up sometimes.
You know what? It's okay.
that's why there's post.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know?
Just cut that out right now.
And this was a great episode to bring you on. Obviously, it's a show you love, and we love to have fans of the show on there. But I think this is a great way to kind of leave off, for now, because
We're
we
gonna
got
take a little break.
Yeah, not a huge thing. We are going to be taking a little bit of a hiatus. We're going to take a little break to reassess everything. We want to come back. We want to come back with a new look. We want to come back better than ever. And I think right now we just need a little bit of a break to kind of go over everything, figure out what works, what doesn't work, what you guys like, what you guys don't like, and we want to come back better than ever.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of personal stuff going on too. We just got a lot of big life changes that we're trying to sort out and adjust around. So between that and this show, which has been a ton of fun, I definitely want to continue this. There's so many more shows that we want to do, and so many big ones that we absolutely have planned, and I'm dying to do. So yeah, don't think we're not going away. We're not going to disappear on you, but we might take a month or two just to kind of reassess and come back earlier in the year. Maybe have a Christmas episode or something. See what we can do for that. Just some fun holiday shit. But yeah, we think this was an amazing episode. Again, thank you for showing up and doing this with us. Schminkadelic, thank you for the use of our intro and outro.
Thank you.
You can find more of his tunes on Spotify and Apple Music. Anywhere else? Any other plugs you want to throw in?
No.
No, he's good. Yeah, man.
Well, hey, thanks again, everybody, for listening. Once again, this has been the Men of Zen. My name is Brent.
I'm Phil.
I'm Schminkadelic.
Thanks again, everybody. Have a good one.
Stay zen.
For more media entertainment podcasts like the one you just heard, check out The Barn. Anime, music, sports, and video games, The Barn has everything that you need.